Have you ever heard of someone losing their lifelong partner, and within months losing their home, their savings, and even their health, all because of the decisions they made in the fog of grief? It happens far more often than you'd think. Losing a spouse is without a doubt one of the most painful experiences any of us will ever face. It's not just the heartbreak, it's the sheer weight of everything that comes afterward. Suddenly, you're the one making every decision, from bank accounts and insurance policies to what happens to the house you once shared. And here's the hard truth no one tells you. Grief clouds judgment. In those first weeks and months when emotions are raw and the silence in the house is deafening, it's easy to say yes to things you'll regret later. Well-meaning friends push you to sell the house. Financial advisors urge you to act fast on investments. Family pressures you to give away assets. Or worse, you find yourself falling for anyone who offers comfort, even if it's not the right person. These are the moments when mistakes are made, mistakes that can cost you your financial security, your emotional health, and even your future happiness. That's why today's video is so important. We're going to walk through 5 critical things you should say no to after losing your spouse, because these are the traps that catch so many people off guard. Mistakes that seem harmless in the moment, but often lead to regret, financial hardship, and emotional setbacks that make healing so much harder. You see, grief doesn't come with a rule book. There's no timeline, but there are common pitfalls, and knowing them can make all the difference. Because the truth is, protecting your emotional and financial well-being isn't selfish. It's survival. It's how you begin building a new chapter without losing everything you've worked so hard for. In this video, we'll share real stories of people, just like you, who faced these decisions. Some made choices they later regretted, others learned the hard way, and a few found their way through with wisdom and support. So whether you have recently lost your spouse or you know someone who has, this video is for you. Because knowing what to say no to may be the most loving thing you can do, not just for yourself, but for the life your partner would have wanted you to protect. Stay with me until the end, because each of these 5 lessons builds on the last. And by the end, well, you'll walk away with clarity, confidence, and a few insights that could save you months, even years, of unnecessary pain. Let's get started. 1. Making big financial decisions too soon. Let me ask you, how many times have you heard someone say, you should sell the house now, or it's time to invest that life insurance money? It's one of the most common mistakes people make after losing a spouse, rushing into major financial decisions too soon. And honestly, it's easy to see why. You're overwhelmed, emotional, and suddenly faced with stacks of paperwork, insurance policies, and decisions you never thought you'd face alone. In moments like these, making a quick choice can feel like taking control. Maybe selling the house feels like the first step towards starting fresh. Maybe investing a large sum feels like you're being responsible. Or maybe you feel pressure from well-meaning family members, financial advisors, or even your own desire to get things in order. But here's the truth. Grief clouds your judgment. When you're emotionally raw, decisions that seem smart right now might be the very ones you regret later. Take the story of Margaret, a 74-year-old widow from Ohio. A few months after losing her husband of 40 years, friends and even her kids started telling her she should sell the family home, the house they built their life in. It made sense on paper, less space to maintain, lower costs, a fresh start. So she sold the house fast. But as the months passed and the fog of grief lifted, Margaret found herself missing not just the home, but the memories, the neighbors, the garden she and her husband had planted together. The sale left her feeling lost all over again, and worst of all, there was no going back. That's why experts often recommend what's called the 1-year rule, meaning you should give yourself at least 1 year before making any irreversible financial decisions. That includes selling the house, cashing out investments, or giving large sums of money to your children or grandchildren. Grief pulls at your heartstrings, and sometimes it creates a deep desire to help family, to give now as a way of feeling connected. But what feels manageable today might not be sustainable down the road. And let's not forget, there are people out there who prey on the vulnerable. High-pressure sales tactics, shady investment schemes, and even family members with good intentions but bad advice. If anyone is pushing you to act fast or sign papers before you're ready, that's your signal to stop. The smartest thing you can do right now is pause, stabilize emotionally, seek professional guidance, someone you trust who understands your long-term needs. Remember, you don't have to rush. You don't have to decide today. The best financial decisions are made with clarity, not grief. 2. Isolating yourself, pulling away from family and friends. Let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself sitting in the quiet, staring at the same spot on the wall, wondering, is this what the rest of my life looks like now? For so many who've lost a spouse, the hardest moments aren't during the funeral or when the paperwork piles up. It's those long, silent afternoons when the house feels too quiet and the world feels like it just moved on without you. And that's where isolation creeps in. Not all at once, but little by little. At first you just don't feel like talking. The phone rings, but you let it go to voicemail. A friend invites you out for coffee, but you're just not in the mood. Family gatherings feel exhausting. Everyone means well, but no one truly understands the weight you're carrying. And so, you pull back, you tell yourself, I just need time to process this. And you do. You absolutely do. But here's the danger. Isolation feels safe until it's not. The longer you stay in that quiet place, the harder it becomes to climb back out. What starts as just needing space can turn into days without sunlight, skipped meals, restless nights, and eventually a heavy cloud of sadness that's hard to shake. And here's what many don't realize. Social isolation isn't just an emotional risk. It's a physical one too. Studies have shown that prolonged isolation, especially for older adults, increases the risk of high blood pressure, weakens the immune system, raises stress hormones, and can even take years off your life. Think about that for a moment. Grief itself is already hard on your body, but being alone too long adds another layer of strain your heart and health don't need. Let me share a story that might sound familiar. Walter was 78 when he lost his wife of 52 years. In the beginning, people stopped by, called, sent cards, but as the weeks passed, the visits slowed. The phone calls became less frequent, and Walter stopped answering altogether. He told himself it was easier that way. No small talk, no pretending he was okay. But soon, days blurred together. He lost track of time. Meals became snacks, and sleep became restless hours staring at the ceiling. His energy dipped, his blood pressure spiked, and for the first time in his life, Walter felt truly invisible. It wasn't until a persistent neighbor knocked on his door one morning. "Coffee's on. You're coming with me." Reluctantly, Walter went. That one simple cup of coffee, it saved him. Because it wasn't about the coffee, it was about connection. One conversation turned into two, then weekly visits, and slowly life felt a little less heavy. Now, I'm not telling you to force yourself into a crowded dinner party when your heart's not ready. That's not what this is about. It's about staying connected, even in the smallest ways. Answer the phone, even if it's just to listen. Step outside and feel the sun on your face. Walk with a friend, or join a grief support group where you don't have to explain why you're sad because everyone there just gets it. If talking feels too hard right now, that's okay. Sometimes simply being around people, hearing laughter, sharing a meal, or even sitting quietly beside someone reminds you that you're still here. You're still part of this world, and don't be surprised if grief makes you irritable or short-tempered. It happens, but don't let that push away the very people who love you most. They won't always have the right words, but their presence is what matters. And here's one more thing. Sometimes the best support comes from those who've walked this same road. Joining a grief support group, whether at your local community center, church, or even online, can be life-changing. There's power in hearing someone say, "I felt that too. You're not crazy. You're not broken. You're grieving, and it's hard." Remember, isolating yourself might feel easier in the short term, but it only makes this journey harder in the long run. You don't have to go through this alone. Truly, you're not meant to. So take the first step, answer that call, say yes to that coffee, take that short walk, because connection is what keeps us human, and it just might be the thing that carries you through. Neglecting your health, when grief quietly takes a toll on your body. Let me ask you, when was the last time you sat down to eat a real meal, or checked in with your doctor, or even took a short walk outside just to stretch your legs and breathe? If you're grieving the loss of a spouse, you probably haven't thought about any of that. And I get it. When your heart is heavy, everything else, food, sleep, exercise, it all feels pointless. But here's what most people don't realize. Grief doesn't just break your heart emotionally, it takes a serious toll on your body. Studies show that losing a spouse increases the risk of heart problems, weakens your immune system, and even speeds up cognitive decline. It can cause high blood pressure, mess with your sleep, and trigger changes in your appetite, making you eat too little, too much, or just all the wrong things. And the scary part? It happens so quietly that you barely notice until your body starts breaking down. Take James, an 81-year-old from Florida. After his wife passed, cooking dinner felt unbearable. What was the point of making a meal for one? So night after night he grabbed a frozen dinner or skipped meals altogether. Within a few months, his energy plummeted, his weight dropped, and sleep became impossible. It wasn't until his daughter stepped in that James realized he wasn't just grieving, he was slowly fading. And that's exactly why this part is so important. Because while your grief is real, your health still matters. In fact, taking care of yourself right now is one of the most important things you can do. Not just for you, but for the family who still loves you, for the friends who care, and yes, even to honor your spouse's memory. Think about it. If they were still here, wouldn't your spouse want you to keep living, to stay strong, to protect your health? Now I know it's hard, but taking care of yourself doesn't mean running marathons or cooking gourmet meals. It means small, manageable steps, every single day. Start with food. You don't have to cook a full dinner, but try to eat balanced meals. A bowl of soup, a turkey sandwich, a handful of fresh fruit. Avoid skipping meals, and try not to rely on processed foods. Your body needs nutrients, now more than ever. Hydrate. It sounds simple, but staying hydrated helps regulate your heart, boosts your energy, and keeps your mind clear. Aim for about 8 glasses of water a day. And if you're struggling, add a slice of lemon or drink herbal tea. Move your body. No, you don't need a gym membership, but light movement, a 20-minute walk around the block, a few stretches, does wonders for your mood, your joints, and your heart. Studies show that even gentle walking lowers stress, reduces blood pressure, and boosts your immune system. Don't skip your checkups. If it's been months or even a year since you've seen your doctor, call and schedule an appointment. Grief can mask real health problems, heart issues, high blood pressure, even diabetes. You owe it to yourself to stay on top of it. And finally, your mental health matters too. Grief is heavy. It can turn into depression, anxiety, even hopelessness, especially if you're isolated. If you're struggling to get out of bed, losing interest in things you once loved, or feeling like the sadness won't lift, it's okay to ask for help. Talking to a counselor, a grief support group, or even a trusted friend doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Because the strongest thing you can do right now is protect your mind just as much as your body. And hear me when I say this. Taking care of yourself doesn't mean you're moving on. It doesn't mean you're forgetting your spouse. It means you're choosing to live for yourself and for the people who still need you here. Because you are still here, and your well-being, it matters. So tonight, fix yourself a simple meal. Tomorrow, take that walk. And if it's been too long since your last doctor's visit, pick up the phone and make that appointment. It's not selfish, it's survival, it's love for yourself, for the life you've built, and for the memories you carry. Rushing into a new relationship when loneliness leads you somewhere you are not ready to go. Let me ask you, have you ever felt that sudden ache of silence after losing someone you've spent most of your life with? That hollow feeling when there's no one sitting across the table, no one to share the little moments with? For many who've lost a spouse, the loneliness becomes the hardest part, even harder than grief itself, and it's only natural. After years, sometimes decades of having someone by your side, the quiet can feel unbearable. That's when the idea creeps in. Maybe if I found someone new, it wouldn't hurt so much. And listen, there's nothing wrong with craving connection. We're human, we're wired for companionship, but rushing into a new relationship too soon can lead to even deeper pain you don't see coming. Here's why. Grief creates a hole so big that in the moment, it feels like anyone or anything could fill it. But the truth is, no one can. Not right now. Because grief needs space. It needs time. It needs you to sit with it long enough to understand it. Jumping into a new relationship while your heart is still raw is like trying to build a house on shifting sand. It might stand for a while, but sooner or later the cracks will show. Let me share a story. Barbara, 72, from Arizona, lost her husband of nearly 50 years. The loneliness hit hard, fast. Within months, a friend introduced her to a gentleman who had also lost a spouse. On paper, it seemed perfect. They understood each other's pain. They started spending time together, dinners, walks, quiet evenings. It felt good at first, but as the weeks turned into months, Barbara realized something. She wasn't ready. She wasn't falling in love. She was falling into distraction. The relationship became heavy, complicated. Barbara felt torn between honoring her late husband's memory and forcing herself to move on. Eventually, she had to step away, and it hurt both of them. In hindsight, she wished she'd given herself more time to heal. And that's the message here. A new relationship should be a choice, not an escape. Grief is messy. It stirs up guilt, longing, fear, even anger. And if you're not careful, all those emotions get tangled up in something new. And that's not fair to you or the other person. What's worse, there are people out there who prey on that loneliness. Scammers, manipulators, people who sense your vulnerability and swoop in with promises of comfort, companionship, or even love, only to exploit you emotionally or financially. That's why this isn't just about waiting for the right person. It's about waiting until you are in the right place. Ask yourself, am I truly ready to open my heart? Am I looking for love, or just trying to avoid being alone? Have I found peace in my own company before bringing someone else into my life? If the answer is no, it's okay. There is no timeline for healing. You don't owe anyone an explanation. And you certainly don't need to follow anyone else's rules about when it's time to move on. The healthiest, most fulfilling relationships happen when you are ready, when you've taken the time to grieve, to rediscover yourself, and to understand what you truly want moving forward. And when that time comes, you'll know. Because the choice won't come from fear or loneliness. It will come from strength, peace, and the desire to build something new, not recreate what was lost. Until then, be patient with yourself. Lean on friends, family support groups. Seek connection, not necessarily romance. Fill your days with things that bring you joy. walking, reading, volunteering, spending time with grandchildren or old friends, because your life is still yours, rich, meaningful, and full of potential. And when you are ready, love's round the right kind will find its way back in, but only when your heart is truly ready to receive it, holding on to every possession, when memories become a weight you can't carry. Let me ask you, have you ever walked past your spouse's favorite chair and felt like, if you move it, even an inch, it means letting go? Is one of the most heartbreaking parts of grief that no one really talks about, what to do with their things. The clothes still hanging in the closet, the shoes by the door, the coffee mug sitting exactly where they left it. At first, keeping everything just the way they left it feels like the right thing, like a way of keeping them close. After all, these aren't just things. They're pieces of a life built together, filled with memories no one else could possibly understand. But here's the hard truth: when we hold on to everything, we risk holding ourselves hostage in the past. You see, grief needs space, space to breathe, space to heal, and space to allow new moments, however small, to find their way in. Surrounding yourself with every single belonging can sometimes turn your home into a shrine of loss, rather than a place of comfort. Take Harold, for example, 76 years old, married for 55 years. After his wife passed, he couldn't bring himself to move a thing. Her clothes stayed right where she left them. Her favorite slippers remained by the bed. Her perfume sat untouched on the dresser. For months, Harold told himself it was the only way to keep her close. But every morning, walking past those untouched items, it didn't bring comfort. It brought a fresh wave of grief, like losing her all over again, every single day. Eventually, with the help of his daughter, Harold took a deep breath and started small. He chose a few special items: her favorite sweater, a necklace, a photo they both loved, and created a memory box, a space where her essence could live without taking over every room. And something remarkable happened. Harold felt lighter, not because he was forgetting, but because he was finally allowing space for himself and for healing. And that's the heart of this. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean loving them any less. It simply means recognizing that while memories live in things, they also live in you, in your heart, in your stories, in the life you continue to build. So how do you start? Start small. Choose a few truly meaningful keepsakes: a wedding ring, a handwritten letter, a favorite photograph. Create a memory space, a shelf, a shadow box, or even pass a few treasures down to your children or grandchildren so their memory lives on. Some people find comfort in transforming items, turning old shirts into a quilt, gathering letters into a memory book, or framing a recipe written in their hand. These small acts honor their memory while gently weaving the past into your present. And here's something important: don't let anyone rush you. Well-meaning friends or family might suggest clearing things out quickly, telling you it's time to move on. But this is your journey, your home, your heart. You decide when you're ready. At the same time, be honest with yourself. If months or even years have passed and you're still unable to touch anything, ask yourself if holding on is helping or keeping you stuck. Because at the end of the day, grief is not about things. It's about love. And no amount of belongings, no closet full of clothes, no shelf of keepsakes can ever replace the person you lost. What matters now is creating a life where love and loss can coexist, where you carry their memory forward, not as a weight, but as a quiet strength that lives within you. So when you are ready, take that first step, one item, one memory, one moment, not to erase, but to make room for whatever comes next. Because healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means allowing yourself to live, love, and remember, all at the same time. Grief or mourning is one of life's most personal journeys. There's no playbook, no timeline, no right way to do it. And if there's one thing I hope you take away from this video, it's this: You're not broken. You're human. Every tear, every quiet morning, every restless night, they're all part of loving someone so deeply that losing them changes you forever. But here's the truth that so many of us forget. Moving forward doesn't mean leaving them behind. It means carrying their memory with you. Not as a heavyweight, but as a quiet strength that reminds you what it means to love, to live, and to endure. By avoiding these 5 common mistakes, you're not just protecting your finances or your health. You're protecting your heart, your future, and your chance to find peace again. Because you still matter. Your life still matters. And there are chapters left to write, moments your loved one would want you to experience, not just survive. So if you're watching this and thinking about your own journey, or the journey of someone you love, know this: you are stronger than you think, and you are not walking this road alone. Take your time, breathe, and when you're ready, live the life they'd want you to live, full of meaning, connection, and even joy. Because honoring their memory doesn't happen in what you hold on to. It happens in how you choose to live the rest of your days. Now I'd love to hear from you. What part of today's video spoke to you the most? Have you faced any of these moments yourself, or do you know someone who has? Leave me a comment below. Your words might just be what someone else needs to hear today. And if this video brought you comfort or gave you something to think about, please like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss a video designed to inform, support, and inspire you. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Until next time, take care of yourself. You matter more than you know.